the Calgary Flames have, they lose, again, back-to-back losses now after points in 6 straight games to start the season. Not an entirely unpredictable result, losing to the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets, that was their 8th win in a row. And again, and I cannot stress this part enough, are a better hockey team than the Calgary Flames. And so we can go into the X's and O's of that game. And I don't particularly see the point to at this point. Winnipeg out-hockeyed the Flames. A couple things could have been different. But I want to talk about the reaction to the Matt Coronato move. As on Friday, while I was on Sportsnet 960 The Fan, chatting with Logan Gordon for my weekly appearance on Sportsnet Today 960 from 1 to 3 every Friday, that news broke that Coronato was being sent back to the American Hockey League. And this is where I'm in, just personally, if you can come on this journey with me for a second, I am on in an interesting spot, I guess, because I have this job with the mainstream side where I am working on the radio station that is the rights holder and all of those things, and just working with those guys who are in it every day and all of those, all that sort of aside. And then I come out of that bubble and I go into the more internet-y one with all the Game Over stuff that I do. Game Over Calgary live after every Flames game. Just getting all the plugs in here today. But, and you go into that, and I am not saying that one side is right and one side is wrong. I am just saying both the listeners, but also the hosts and the people who I interact with on both sides have very different views on some things. Sometimes there is that symmetry there, but it is what the one side is seeing and then what the internet side is seeing are very different. And I think particularly on this guy, because when that Coronato news broke, it was just kind of that was going to be the case, probably. Like, I would have liked to have seen them try it a little bit more, but the only argument I had for doing that was I would like to see it a little bit more because we just haven't seen enough of it, I don't think. And I think he is going to be a good player, and I would like to see him get a bit more of an opportunity to be a good player. You couldn't, I thought, give any merit to what he had done on the ice as a suggestion for why he should stay. But then I come out of just kind of get blooped out of that mainstream bubble and back into the internet one. And it's, well, look at his expected goals for, look at his high danger chances for, and look at all these things. And how can you not see that this guy deserves another opportunity? And so I was surprised when that news happens. And honestly, it was just like, okay, yeah, he got sent down. It probably means someone else is coming back, but the Wranglers are playing 2 games this weekend. So instead of just sitting him, they want to put him in the lineup right away, get him down to Colorado, and we'll see if Sharangovich is back. If not, you have Rooney, Kirkland, Klapka. You can mix and match all those pieces all you want, and it's fine. But then again, you get out of that bubble and you go out into the internet-y part of it, and it is, oh my God, how could they, how could you do this to this guy? And I guess I know what you are seeing on that when it comes to the expected goals for and the high danger chances for. And I don't even want this to be, I know I'm kind of pitting it as mainstream versus internet and whatever, but I don't want this to be an analytics versus eye test debate, because it kind of is, I guess, but it is more just a don't hone in on a couple. And I am guilty of that. And the ones that Coronato is thriving in are admittedly the ones that I look at the most. Expected goals for percentage and high danger chances for. I think those are probably pretty self-explanatory about what they measure and all of that. And so with Coronato being on the positive side of those, if you look at that, it's okay, well, how can you get rid of this guy? But you look at the rest of the picture, and it is the possession numbers are a bit below 50%, whether it is Corsi or Fenwick or whatever you want it to be. A lot of the other numbers are just a little bit underneath. And so while he has done a very good job when he is out on the ice of when they get the opportunities to strike, holy hell do they strike, and also maybe limiting some of the real bad chances that are happening when they don't have the puck, which is more than they do. But also, I think when you combine all of that with watching it out on the ice and actually watching what's happening, I don't see the argument for keeping him around right now. And that's not to say he's a bad player. I think he's a very good hockey player, and I think he's going to be a very, very good hockey player. It's just not right now. He is just not that guy at this point. And any expected goals for or high danger, whatever, was kind of created off of what Lomberg was doing and created off of what Kadri was doing. He was not the one driving any of that. And again, he had some moments, but he has to get stronger on the puck. He has to be able to win a few more of those battles and get those retrieval opportunities down. And again, part of that is you do have to compete against the NHL level to be able to figure out how to do that. But I think that's something at the AHL he can still kind of work on. And I think that there was a couple of times where, and you don't fault him for this to a certain degree, he is trying to do a little bit too much out there, and you can understand it. But when you have Kadri and Kuzmenko with you, you have to do a little bit more. You have to do a little bit more than what he was doing. Like there has to be an elevation there. And I thought he brought a little bit of that fourth line work ethic out there, which I loved to see. I loved how well he fit with Lomberg, and I loved how well he played on that fourth line when he got the goals and all of those sorts of things. But then it moved up to the fourth line, and while he still had that work ethic that got him there, he did not have an elevation in his game, stylistically or talent-wise, quite frankly, to be able to fit there. And to Toxic's point, when he's going out there and doing that with the fourth line, he is generally going out there and doing that against fourth liners. Toxic Predator in the chat saying he's also been playing fourth line against the worst NHLers. Not that being the worst NHLer is bad or anything. Yes, no. That is also a statement that should always be driven home. The absolute worst NHL player in the league right now would be by about 90x the best player in your beer league game, right? In any other league in the world would be the best player on that ice surface. They just happen to be going up against the best. So always a nice note. But no, you're right. Like, you have to look at when those things are happening, you have to look at who he is playing against. You have to look at who he is playing with and how all of these things are happening. And so again, it is, I don't want to say easy, because it is how different people view these things. But if you just look at, okay, I am just going to watch the games, and what I see is what I am going to do with all of this, things are going to be missed. You cannot just focus on one guy the whole time. Unless you're going to go back and watch each and every game and isolate on each and every player, then maybe you can do that. But you're also going to run out of time. By the time you finish that for the 2024 season, the 2028 season will be done. So it is still very difficult to just watch everything on every play and take all of those notes down and to be able to process that as a way of going about evaluating every player in the league. So that is where stats become helpful. But again, you cannot just focus on stats, and to even broaden or to specify it a little bit more down onto one or two particular stats, it is just not going to be enough, quite frankly. The other part of this whole debate, where did you want to put him? And I understand right now that conversation is circling around Anthony Mantha. And, why did they need to bring him in to, he's just taken a spot now from these guys? Well, probably, quite frankly, yeah. That I don't have a ton of argument for. But also, while it has slowed down a touch, he has done a good job of getting a better version of Jonathan Huberdeau out of him than we have seen before. And as I state on here, probably more than I need to, Jonathan Huberdeau is a part of the Calgary Flames' future. Whether you like it or not, that is going to be the case. And so, if you're going to be having this guy hang around, and you are going to be paying him $10.5 million to do so, you may as well try to get the best out of him. And I think, right now, Anthony Mantha is significantly better off doing that than Matt Coronato is. And so we would all love to live in a world where just the 12 best hockey players who play forward get to go out every night and play hockey for the Calgary Flames, and it would be great. But there is a team building aspect of it. And so if you have to, you can complain that, well, Anthony Mantha's here and he's taking a spot. Maybe he shouldn't be, maybe he should be. I don't think it's a bad move personally, but I can see your argument. The fact of the matter is, he is here, and you're not going to sit him. So realistically, where were you putting Coronato? In a cycle with Honzek and Klapka on the fourth line and just working in every third game playing fourth line minutes? That's not helping anybody. Let him go down in the American Hockey League and kick the shit out of some American Hockey League players and come back up in January when they've traded a bunch of dudes and light the world on fire then. I don't think, unless they are telling him, hey man, you're going down because you were dog shit, I don't think that this is going to be something that messes with his psyche. I don't think this is going to be something that is going to damage him long term or anything like that. And I don't think that this situation is unwarranted by any stretch of the imagination. I think that the Flames have a current spot where they have a few young players who are playing pretty well, and there is just, it is the same as in training camp. There is not a spot for this kid here right now. To Toxic's point again, I still think Coronado is a bona fide 20-goal scorer in this league. He has that shot. He has that instinct, and we saw he has the work ethic. It has to be put all together now. There is a rounding out of this kid that still needs to happen. It is there, and it will still be there, and it will get there a little bit more, but there are some things that need to be worked on. So this is going to seem like a hilarious thing probably in like 2 months. Oh man, remember that time we all got freaked out that they sent him down and all? I was genuinely surprised at the reaction I saw to the Coronado move the other day.